Hello everybody and welcome to another amazing video of DIY investing. I'm really excited to bring with you guys today's update because I know if you're a beginner or if this is just something that you're trying to learn more of heading into this next cycle, I promise you that this video is going to simplify so many of your questions and it's going to help you guys to have a good picture and an idea of what is going to be taking place over the next couple years. By being early right where we're at right now, this is the way that we have the opportunity of making a financial fortune in the markets. It can only take $100 investment, a $500 investment, and $1,000 at the max, and you could literally be sitting at six figures by the end of 2025. I'm going to break down exactly what I think is happening in the markets, give you guys my thoughts on why I believe this cycle is going to be so much more powerful than the last, and how we can all go about capitalizing on it and being prepared before it actually takes place. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and with that being said, let's jump right into this amazing video today. Alrighty guys, now here we are to start off today's video. Now right off the bat, I am not going to be talking much about Bitcoin or anything. We're going to be jumping straight into altcoin charts. I'm going to be giving you guys the long-term cycles. We're going to be looking at multiple different cycles across the board on many of the best performing altcoins so that you guys are going to be able to understand what I'm talking about. But before we get into that, I did want to take a couple minutes just to simply kind of update you guys with what we've been talking about, being the S&P 500 and Bitcoin. Now, we've been watching this support level, trying to determine whether or not Bitcoin was going to hold, and the more that we've kind of sat here and the more we've kind of hugged tighter and tighter to that support, the weaker that support is getting, and I do believe that we're going to come down. Now when it comes to Bitcoin, when we don't necessarily know the exact direction of Bitcoin, the best thing that we can look at is the stock market or even the dollar index. Now with the stock market, we went on this massive rally ever since, at this point over here, I was talking about why I expected that we were going to run up to 4,300 and why if we broke above 4,300, that was really the last line of defense for the bears. And once we got above that, in my opinion, that was the confirmation that the bull market was upon us. We got that breakout and then we ended up running all the way up to about 4,600. And this is actually our first lower high of the bear market. This was right at the top of the market before Russia and Ukraine and all of that stuff ended up taking place. So for us to come and rally all the way back up to 4,600, even though we're seeing this sell-off, it's not going to be one that I think we should worry about. I do think that this is going to fall and we're going to come back down and retest 43.27, and from there that will be the point where we will see a reversal. So when we're watching Bitcoin, I believe that Bitcoin's just going to continue to trend down as long as the SPX is kind of in this indecisive point. We hit resistance, we rejected. I believe we have to come back down onto support, and once we hit this support, that will be the point where Bitcoin bottoms. And for Bitcoin, if we're looking at another 3 to 4% drop in the stock market, Bitcoin will probably end up coming all the way back down to at least 27,000, and I wouldn't be surprised to see us come all the way back down to 26 or even 25 before the point of this reversal. But I think regardless, big picture, we're looking at one more final move to finish out this cycle, and that will kind of come after the S&P 500's found support, and then we make the next run into new all-time highs. So that's my thoughts. Let's jump into the altcoins and talk about what I think is happening, preparing us for this coming bull run. Now the first one I wanted to talk to you guys about today is going to be XRP, and I'm going to go through and look at some of the older altcoins because even though a lot of people are saying that all the old altcoins are dead, they never made a big cycle in the last one, therefore they're never going to. And I see these people regurgitating the same thought process, and I just don't foresee that being accurate. Now, what I do see in the market is honestly the exact same setup right before that 2017 bull run. And I talked a lot about that in the last cycle. The only difference was I was even premature in thinking that, just off of this accumulation, we were going to be able to have a new cycle. And I was naive in thinking that. And I think the main reason why these OG altcoins never did just had to do with the fact there wasn't as much liquidity because we had the COVID, we had all of this different stuff that was going on. There wasn't as many people trying to buy and invest into crypto as maybe there was in 2016 or 17. And when we're looking at all of these old altcoins, there's really nothing that has changed for XRP. It's still one of the biggest leaders in the market. It still does the most. It still has some of the best partnerships. When you're looking at a fundamental crypto that's just going to be a safe pick, in my opinion, XRP is right there. And I would say that it wasn't the safest pick before the lawsuit, but now that we have the finalization, we know that they already beat the SEC, I think that this is a very bullish setup. And what we're looking at with XRP, and not only XRP, because we have multiple altcoins we're going to talk about in this video, we're seeing a lot of the same setups that was what happened right before that 2017 type of rally. Now, when it comes for me watching XRP, this is the way that I always look at this chart, because it just looks like the exact same type of setup that we saw right before, I would say right in 2016, right before 2017 cycle, right? So I'm going to remove this lower one. We're just going to look at it like this. Now, it's almost the same setup. The only difference is it's about twice the amount of time. We have our first cycle here. It's the same thing as right here. We get the top. Then we make this big correction back down. Eventually, we bottom here. And then we start our first lower high, right? This is the first impulse. Ends up being a lower high in comparison with our prior cycle top. And then we go through another correction, and we just kind of trend sideways for a long period of time. And it's almost the exact same thing that's happened. The only difference is it's just taken more time to do the same pattern. But after we finished the decline, we bottomed, we made our first lower high. The same thing happened right here. And then we made this big correction all the way back down to trending support. And the only thing that's happened for the last year basically is this. We've just been trending sideways. Now, there is a little bit of a difference in the price structure. For example, we won't be breaking out of the descending resistance like this one did until we pretty much make a big move all the way back up to about $2. And then from there, we'll be looking at a breakout of this long-term trend. Do I necessarily anticipate that we're going to be doing this, soon? I would say probably closer to the end of the year of probably the beginning of 2024, even into mid-2024. It's kind of hard to say. The big thing for me is I'm not expecting, this type of stuff until probably after the halving. If we're to follow a normal 4-year cycle, that's generally the amount of time that it's taken before we see those type of breakouts. But what we're looking at here, aside from the breakouts, we're looking at almost the same exact setup. And this is across the board on a lot of these OG altcoins. A lot of them look similar to that first cycle that they had. The only difference is, in this one, I think it was 1,000 days worth of the entirety of that cycle. So about 1,300 days, and I'm pretty sure this one's already over 2,000. So 2,048 days approximately. So we're sitting at twice the time. But because of that, we're sitting at significantly higher market cap, right? So I believe that the reason it's taking so much time and the reason why altcoins didn't have this big cycle like Bitcoin did is it's just simply having to go through a longer period of accumulation to get the same type of breakouts to send this into new all-time highs. And I think that the SEC lawsuit didn't help that in any sort of way. We can look at some of the other altcoins and, some of them barely broke all-time highs. And so some of those that did break all-time highs, they were, outperforming XRP, but they also didn't even have a lawsuit, and they really didn't even make that much bigger of a move. So what that tells me is either A, OG altcoins are dead, and they're just going to make these little lower highs and echo fractal into death, which we've seen before. Don't get me wrong, there has been plenty of altcoins that have done that. Or option B is that this just ends up being a lengthier period of accumulation and consolidation, rivals that of 2013 to 2017, and we're about to see another one of these type of moves. That's what I lean to. I mean, when I look at this market, it's very obvious it's getting a ton of accumulation. We never made a lower low, we've maintained higher highs, and then even throughout this entire accumulation here, it has one of the most obvious uptrends out of the entire market. Very obvious to tell we're holding this trend. We held this trend from June all the way to now. Now we have finalization of the lawsuit. I really do believe that this is going to break out. And what we're seeing is an obvious setup that is going to lead in a similar way heading into this cycle as 2017. Now, another one on today's list is Chainlink. A lot of people have written off Chainlink, mainly because it started out the last cycle doing so well. And even though it did another, 20 or 30x from that point, it wasn't outperforming quite as good as it was at one point. So many people wrote it off. Many people think it's dead. And we've sat here and just accumulated on the support floor for a long period of time. And most recently, we had this attempt at a breakdown, temporarily pierced below support, but we instantly reclaimed it. Now, for me personally, guys, when I'm looking at Chainlink, this is one of the best accumulation setups in the entire market. We're sitting at over 450 days. That's almost the same amount of time as all of our altcoins spent in the last cycle accumulating, a year and a half, 2 years before they really did much. We're sitting at almost the same times of accumulation. We've had multiple attempts at a breakdown. Every single one of these have gotten stuffed. We've seen buybacks happen, and even though we haven't broken out of our range resistance yet, I believe that once this correction is done, that's the point where we finally make our next move. And this is why I'm making these videos, is because we've been through this period of accumulation, reconsolidation, where for a long time altcoins haven't done a whole lot, and so most people are just, not even thinking about it. But that's always right before they start to mark up by a lot and then outprice the people that weren't, prepared beforehand. And so anybody that is getting prepared right now, I think, is going to see so much more profit potential over the course of the next 2.5 years. And when we're looking at Chainlink, one thing I absolutely love about Chainlink is the fact it just looks like a typical market cycle all the way through. The Elliott waves look solid. We can see very clear Elliott wave structure, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then completing the Elliott waves, we see your classic ABC correction back down. After the ABC, we've held support for over 1.5 years, and now we come to the point of markup. We're seeing the same sort of setups all the way through. In fact, Chainlink even followed a 4-year cycle. If we draw a line from the lowest low, this says June 24th of 2018. Well, if you guys remember, 1,450 days is 4 years, and that's where we should see our next bottom. So 1,450 days right there. Oh my goodness. Is that the exact bottom of the market cycle? Oh my gosh, did Chainlink follow a 4-year cycle perfectly? It sure did. There's a lot of different altcoins that, although there's differences, for example, Chainlink didn't bottom at the end of the year. It bottomed in June. And then it bottomed in June again. And, Ethereum bottomed in June. Many altcoins bottomed in June. Bitcoin made a lower low, whereas altcoins held support. That's something we haven't seen before. And when we're looking at the price of XRP looking almost identical to 2017, and we're seeing more support in altcoins this cycle than literally ever before. We have never seen altcoins maintain a higher high while Bitcoin makes a lower low. Even though there was kind of a black swan event around that, I still think it is something to pay attention for. And because we're seeing all of these altcoins accumulating on these big, big trends, this cycle, once broken out, is going to spell a massive, massive move. I really do believe that. Everything that I've learned over my 7 years in crypto is telling me that this cycle is going to be much bigger. And of course, because I was wrong in the last cycle, you're going to have those little people in the comment section, this guy's never right, this guy's never been right at all. But I've been in crypto since 2016, so I got in at the bottom of the 2017 or 16 cycle, rode out all of 2017, and then this is now going into my 3rd cycle. So the thing is, guys, I've been around for a long enough time that even though I've made plenty of mistakes, I feel confident in saying and sticking with this analysis because, regardless of what anybody else thinks, I've been able to make a significant amount of money. I've been able to pay off my mom's debt. I've been able to get my other family out of debt. And I can say that without a sliver of doubt, I know what I'm doing inside the market because I've been able to make profit on it. If anybody follows that, it's whatever. In the last cycle, the whole time when I was telling everybody it was bullish, sharing you guys big cycles, going into new all-time highs, showing all the same setups of prior cycles and how, where we're at is just about the same point of breaking out. And that's exactly what happened. And so anybody that's doubting, it's just as simple as this. I remember in the last cycle, all the people that doubted, a lot of people during COVID started opening shorts. They never appeared again. They never showed up in my comments. And every single one of those missed out on a generational wealth opportunity of buying that dip. Or if you're just simply getting in now and looking to hold the next 2.5 years, I don't think you're going to go wrong because like I've stated, all of these cycles look just like they did before 2017. And most of you guys weren't there in 2016 or 2017 to know what it was like, but as somebody who was, there is nothing more life-changing than a 2017 type of bull run. And the last cycle was literally peanuts in comparison. And, the last cycle was profitable. I made way more money in the last cycle. But that's why I'm telling you guys, if you're prepared for this one, right now where we're at, you will make more money than I did because there's just more opportunity for upside this time around. Now with Chainlink, once again, it's kind of the same thing. All of these are just showing your typical cycles. 3 years up, 1 year down. We have over a year of sideways accumulation. This is the point of markup. So, whatever that looks like, breaks out, goes like this, and maybe we go through this long reaccumulation before we're ever breaking out again. It doesn't matter to me because I'm accumulating down here. I can wait through the corrections because I'm looking to sell at the end of the year 2025. All of that is noise to me. It doesn't even matter. I've got so much Chainlink that I'm still just holding from The last cycle, I've added more to my portfolio throughout this bottom. Anything I was holding, I was just adding more of at these lows. And I don't care if I'm down 50%, 60%, 70%. I've been down 80 and 90% and then made over 50x. So it's just part of the game. And it's the people that are the most patient, that have the idea of the future, the foresight to see, that are going to make the money. You just have to have conviction. And that's where most people fail. They don't have the conviction. They aren't willing to just buy something, do research, figure out what's good, hold that investment through the entirety of the cycle. They get greedy, they take profits, or they get scared and they take losses. Usually they take losses regardless of even if they're early or not. And so where we're at, I'm just telling you guys right now, by buying and holding, you're going to do a lot better than the average person. Now next up is going to be Dogecoin. Dogecoin, I just absolutely love this cycle setup, because when we're looking at in terms of just your typical market cycle, there's not much better ones than what we're seeing with Dogecoin. We see this big parabolic rally, your typical blow off top that you would see with this final 5-wave impulse. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Very typical type of blow off top to end a cycle. And then we see, your classic bear market. This big ABC correction. This one looks pretty ideal and almost the exact same as Chainlink. Big ABC corrections. Same sort of thing here if I remove this. Big ABC corrections all the way back down. And then after the ABC, we've just trended sideways. Dogecoin, we're sitting at 420 days. Blaze it. And so this is sitting at just almost the same length of time as Chainlink. Chainlink has the longest accumulation that I've seen so far, but Dogecoin's sitting right there. And one of the big things heading into Dogecoin for, a reason why it's going to do good, Elon Musk has already approved they've been approved for a banking license for new Twitter, which is X. They're going to, implement Dogecoin on a mass scale. And I think regardless of if Dogecoin has a future or not, I think that in this short-term cycle it will. I think it will go into new all-time highs. And when we're talking in terms of, old altcoins, it doesn't really get any better than Dogecoin itself. From where we're at today, just to the all-time highs, you're looking at a 9.5x return. With a high cap crypto, it doesn't get any better than that. You can hold for the next 2.5 years. You'll make 10x your money. Probably make more than that when it actually goes into new all-time highs. I love these setups because they all look different in their own way. When we zoom out here, let's go to a weekly time frame. When we zoom out here, even though this looks a little bit glitchy, we can see that many of the altcoins are in different wave counts. Dogecoin from 2015 to 2020 finished a 1 wave. This was our 3 wave. We're currently sitting at the bottom of wave 4, and we have one more wave 5 to go before this long-term cycle is completed. So I don't know what price it's going to go to. When it comes to a wave 5, it can go anyway. Sometimes the wave 5 can peak almost the same height at wave 3. Sometimes we can get an extended wave 5 that's bigger than wave 3 and wave 1, sometimes both combined. And you just never really know. And so that's why I say with Dogecoin, it's kind of up in the air. We could see a glorious blow off top, depending on what happens with the Twitter license and banking stuff. But I think regardless, if we're looking at these OG altcoins, we see a lot of these just in perfect uptrends. We've seen a completion. We're correcting perfectly onto trending support. We've held support for over a year. And now I believe that we're getting ready for that final wave 5. Many altcoins are in different positions, and that's why I think that the opportunity it varies significantly, right? When we're looking at Chainlink, it's only had 1 cycle. When we come over here, this is only a 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 ABC. And Chainlink's significantly more undervalued. If I had to pick Dogecoin or Chainlink, I'd go for Chainlink because Chainlink does more in general. I believe Chainlink is a staple of crypto, and I do believe it's going to outperform once again. So it's one of my biggest investments. Now with Dogecoin, I think it's one that's got a good use case just simply because of Elon Musk. I do believe he will pump it. And we do have one more 5 wave coming based off of Elliott wave. So I think regardless, this is one of those that could just get a very impulsive blow off top, and it could be a good bet to bet on because of that simple reason. Now, when we're looking at things like XRP, these are taking more time to do these type of moves. And so XRP sitting at $44 billion in total market cap. In comparison, there's more undervalued things, but I don't think that you should write off any of these by any means. If you're looking for safer setups that have adoption already, these are the high caps that you want to focus on. Ones that have already been through the cycles, proven themselves, continue to get adoption. And now with XRP beating the SEC, that's opened up all of the clarity for crypto at this point. It's really going to usher in a lot of adoption. And so it doesn't matter what you're buying. I'm just sharing with you guys multiple different setups that are at the cycle lows that are getting ready to have these big breakouts. Now with Litecoin, it's kind of the same thing. A lot of people are writing off Litecoin because, once again, it barely made a new all-time high in the last cycle, along with most OG altcoins. I don't think that that is a reason to not buy these, though. I believe they will have another one of these type of setups. When we zoom out and look at Litecoin, the entire history of Litecoin, all we're doing is this big ascending triangle, right? This is a horizontal support or resistance. This is horizontal, and this is ascending support. So what we see is an ascending triangle right here. I believe that once these break out, we are going to see a huge markup in the likes that we've probably not seen since 2017. And I really do think that that's the case, because when we're comparing these, it's important to understand that all of our old altcoins never went into price discovery. What was so powerful about 2017 was the fact everything went into price discovery. And not only that, but altcoins outperformed their Bitcoin ratios. We haven't seen, Litecoin outperform its Bitcoin ratio in years. And we haven't seen XRP outperform its Bitcoin ratio in years. But when we're zooming out on all of these, I believe that the case can be made. I believe the case will be made that this is going to end up holding some type of higher high, and we will have our first cycle where altcoins outperform. And it'll look like this. If we want to compare, Dogecoin against Bitcoin was the perfect example of this, where they kind of just repeat the same patterns. Maybe they just go down and underperform forever. But eventually, whenever there is that point where the altcoins go into price discovery, they happen so fast, and they've been suppressed by Bitcoin to begin the cycles, that they outperform massively, and then you have these huge swings. I'm not saying that Litecoin's going to do exactly this, but this is the general way that these altcoins will work. And I've seen it every single time we have a true alt season where they outperform the Bitcoin ratios. We see this same sort of setup happen. With XRP, it's kind of the same thing, where they make these little patterns, right? But with XRP, this is a very obvious inverse head and shoulder, very great volume. Eventually, this is going to break out, and I believe that we're going to have another one of these. It doesn't have to go as high as what I just shared with you with Dogecoin. But if we have another one of these and it does that, it's going to be a big profitability move one way or another. It doesn't even matter at that point. And so we're seeing all of these setups in the same way, and that's why I tell you guys, buying now and holding is the generational wealth opportunity. It doesn't get any better than buying now and holding, because where we're already at, we're already half a year into the cycle. We've got maybe a year left of good market condition to accumulate, and then that's markup. So if you're not buying now or over the next year, you're going to miss out on a huge amount of profit, in my opinion. Now, last up on the list today is going to be Solana. I like Solana just because it looks like Ethereum. We're seeing those same sort of cycles once again. And, it doesn't matter what we're looking at here. They're all fairly related and correlated. Whatever the best performing altcoins of the last cycle, whatever leads, the better performing ones of the next cycle will end up following those, right? So it's the same thing. Bitcoin leads the cycles. Whatever Bitcoin did, Ethereum ended up following. We see a lot of the same correlations in price structure from Bitcoin cycle to Ethereum cycle. And today, with what we're seeing inside of Solana, it looks the same as the first bear market for Ethereum. And that's why I say that when we have these comparisons and we're able to see what's happening and have the foresight to see, this is where we have the big opportunity of capitalizing on these low prices. With Ethereum, we sat here for like 600 days, I think, so it was a long accumulation for ETH. It was like 550 days, and it was over 600 before we broke out. So for Solana, we're at a little bit of a different point. I think that the way the price structure looks, we're going to see a difference, right? So with Ethereum, we spent all this time just going sideways. With Solana, I kind of think that we're going to see a bigger move, maybe something like this, and a bigger correction like that. A higher high rather than this kind of sideways action. So I do believe there's going to be a little bit of a difference here, but that's not the important thing. The important thing is, this followed a 4-year cycle. It's following pretty closely to ETH's last cycle. We had the same ascending triangle for a blow off top. Same thing happened there. Same type of lower high leading into a capitulation. We see capitulation. And now we're just doing the same pattern. So once again, guys, if you're looking to make a lot of money, analyzing the basic patterns, seeing what is taking place, what is forming before our very eyes, and having the patience to hold throughout that, that's how we make the profit. So I wanted to give you guys this video just as a way to summarize some of these thoughts, give you guys an idea of what the cycles look like, where we're at today, and why I believe that this cycle is going to be so glorious. These are just OG altcoins. If all of these do 10x, 20x plus, can you imagine what all of the low cap altcoins are going to do, or stuff that's just never had a cycle? And with all of the on-ramps before, or what I should say, like we've never seen before. We have Webull, we have eToro, we have Cash App, Twitter, or X is now approved for a banking license. They're going to make that a financial app and dashboard. There's just so many really great and powerful things going into this cycle. We don't have COVID. We don't have all of this crap. Really, we're not even in a recession, even though everybody said we're in a recession. The stock market has proved that, hey, we're bullish. There's nothing that's telling us we're in a recession here. So because of that, I really do think that this cycle is going to be powerful. We have the perfect setup where we have all of this accumulation, we have all the adoption, and it's just the perfect scenario for us to have a 2017 bull run. If we don't have a 2017 bull run, I don't think that we ever will. I believe that if it's going to happen, it will be in this cycle. And that's just my opinion. So I want to hear what you guys think. Drop some comments below. I'd love to hear what you guys' questions, comments, and concerns are. Maybe you disagree. Maybe you agree. Either way, I'd love to hear what your points are. Give me a little bit of give me an explanation for why you disagree or agree. And then I just want to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions. I always end up learning something whenever I ask you guys. And so feel free to drop them in the comments. If you guys want to join the Discord server, links are in the description for that. If you want to follow the trades that I post, I mainly have been talking about high caps, but if you want to see which, lower cap altcoins that haven't had cycles yet, if you want to see how I'm investing into those, links are in the description. I'll go ahead and check that out as well. Thank you all so much for the support. And with that being said, I'll catch you in the next one. As always, peace out.